How are we going, everyone? I'm going to plant out some of these seedlings into this garden bed over here. Look at these zucchinis. I mean, one of the easiest plants to grow, they are, aren't they? One of the most, productive plants as well. You can get a zucchini a day. Now, the longer you leave it on there, the slower it is to produce another one. So I harvest that one, and that little one there will start growing real quick. Now, these here, I thought they were zucchinis, but they look like to be spaghetti or pumpkin or marrow, spaghetti marrow. That's what I think they are, now that I see them. And over here in this little corner, we had some seeds thrown in here, not all of them germinated. And I've got this little seedling tray here that I've done. You can see it's gone a bit green there because it's been sitting in the shade because we've got a couple of hot days. That's the radical weather we have, I'm sick of it. But so we have to protect them. Now we've got some cos here. These are summer cos lettuce. See why they're thriving so well. And these are your all year round little bistro mix. I had some winter lettuce to see how they perform. The label's gone. That's summer. Oh, sorry, that's summer iceberg. See, silly me? That's the iceberg, and that's the summer cos there. You can see, obviously, it's ruffled there. Now, I'm going to transplant these straight into the ground because, well, I could put them in pots, but they're tough enough. You could sow, lettuce could be sowed straight into the ground, but, for some people who want to try them in pots, a simple seedling tray like that and a little bit of seed raising mix. I prefer the cocoa coir. That's what I got in here in this little bag. I'd rather use that as a top dress, as a mulch, or even a growing medium. And this is the stuff that I sow my seeds in. Have a look at it. It's beautiful. It's spongy, it holds its moisture, and it breaks away really freely. So you need to have good airflow. Just as much as you need the moisture, you need the good airflow in a soil. It's no good having the moisture and bad airflow because it becomes anaerobic, and that's the bad bacteria. So you need to make sure it breathes well. And the only way you're going to make your soil breathe well, if it's one of that type that goes hard, it's silty clay, you need to put texture in it. Bark, little pieces of wood, which is great for the microbes, and they inoculate into it, the carbon. And cocoa coir like this stuff here, the cocoa pith. Now, I can grow in this directly. That's what I've done over there, sown into it directly. But in the garden bed as well, once you've got your little seedlings growing, you can't sow. Don't go in your garden bed. I talk about mulch, what do you call it? Coconut, not coconut, your sugar cane, pine mulch, pea straw, bamboo mulch, all that sort of heavy textured mulch, like this stuff over here. You can't sow your seeds in here. That's a bacteria, that's a fungus that's come onto this beetroot. I've got to get rid of it. So what we've got to do is cut all these off, or we spray it. So this is a side note for anybody else who sees all these leaf spots developing. Cut them all off and dispose of them. See the beetroot underneath growing on beautifully. So the plant's well and truly established there, coming on, but the leaves are constantly getting hit because the virus hasn't been removed completely. And you can spray with a disease control pack, or just continuously remove the leaves until you get on top of it. And that's what we're doing now. Look at this mulch here. This is bean straw. If I was to throw seeds in here, in this section here, I'd have to leave it exposed like that so the beans can germinate. And if I didn't do that and put the mulch over the top, would you expect the seeds to come up? No. Could you sow directly in here? No, you can't. So you need to pull it away. Now the problem we have here is you're exposing the soil, the good active bacteria, to the sun. And the top layer will die off. It'll become inert. It'll become dead, lifeless to some extent because it's constantly getting solarized, cooking whatever's in the top 5 to 15 mil. All that will become, like I showed yesterday in the video, the superfood. The top surface was a crust, and then the moisture's underneath. Now for seedlings, or seeds, if you were to sow in this area, in this top surface, you would have to hydrate it regularly to ensure that the sun doesn't cook it. That's in the garden bed, not in the little tray like that, which you can maneuver around the garden and create some shade. So if it's in the garden bed and it's stationary in full-blown sun, that little bed there will dry out if you don't mulch it. Now, if you put this mulch on top, you got a problem. The seed won't germinate that easily through because it's too thick, too coarse, and too rugged for the seedling to come through. Whereas over here, we're using cocoa pith as a mulch. We've added our compost, our superfood, and on top, we've got our fine layer of cocoa pith. Now you can see it's dry like any mulch would be on the surface facing the sun. That was an old perpetual spinach. It's not perpetual anymore, is it? Didn't make it quite through. So that'll decompose in there beautifully. I don't take out all the roots, by the way. If you're wondering what's happened to the roots, they're decaying. They're actually breaking down. I don't want to disturb them too much because our bacteria and fungi are all working hard at that to turn it into palatable fertilizer or food for your plants and other living organisms. So that's in there. But you'll see just below the mulch, if we go down, there is a little bit of moisture in there. You can see that's the compost. So there is, I haven't watered today, it is damp. You can see that, I almost showed you my root finger. I can show you these two, how's that? So there's a little bit of dampness in there. It's just enough for the seedlings. They're up and at it, and they're fine. So what we're gonna do here now is we're gonna transplant these seedlings carefully. Oh, that's not careful. Into this bed. Now we've got to be careful when we separate the seeds or the roots. Have a look. Now I like to wiggle them around. They tend to fall apart on their own. I don't like pulling them apart that much. You can run them under water if you like, but see that, just enough, just gentle. There we are. We'll go there, we'll go there, we'll go one here, three, that's one there. That's going to have to come out, so I'm digging it out by hand. That's going to go there. That one there is going to go there. We'll put one here. That's going to move over a little bit, just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got a little one there. We'll leave that alone to grow a bit more. And really, we can only put 6. You know, the biggest problem I've ever had with planting out a garden bed is overplanting, because whilst they're small, you think, oh look, there's plenty of room, but then when the lettuce head starts to form, really we should be more than 30 centimetres apart, otherwise they'd be touching, and that's where all the snails and slugs get in and they start to enjoy eating down and breaking down the leaf. It becomes mouldy. So keep them further apart, less of is better. In here, that's maximum. Oh, that's one there, it's in the way. We've got to get that out of the way. So we put that over here. That's the only space we have. Now, I've already added cocoa pith into this garden bed, but for you out there, anybody out there who's sowing directly into your garden and you haven't got it, it's just clean soil, sprinkle it around like that afterwards, just as a top dress, as a mulch, to give it that little bit of protection and retention of moisture, and that way it doesn't crust over and it keeps your plants hydrated longer. Like that. Once you've done that, give them a water. Now I'm using my little bottle top sprinkler here, folks. I should use a watering can and hydrate the whole garden bed. But here, for now, because the soil is moist enough underneath, I'm just going to hydrate exactly where the seedling is to keep it going until I get the hose out later on and hydrate the rest of the bed. If you want the full success and the full-blown benefits of any fertiliser you use, be it ours or anybody else's, like our Liquid Gold and Eco Butch, folks, when you liquid feed a garden, you know, they've got the 2 litre click-ons. We don't have them, but you can use an old one if you got from another one. You put 10% of the bottle's volume. So let's say 2 litre click-ons, let's say 2 litre click-ons, 2 litres. Yeah? Sorry. You put 10%, which is 200 mils of the fertiliser itself. So in a 2 litre bottle, you put, if you want to put both, you put 100 mil of Eco Butch and 100 mil of Liquid Gold, then fill the rest of it up, which is 1.8 litres with water. So that becomes a 2 litre bottle. Put your hose onto that, click it on, and spray your life away at that. So fertilise all your garden. And why I say that is a quick way to do it in hydrating your garden bed and feeding it at the same time. Otherwise, use your watering can and don't just go over the plant. Hydrate the entire bed, hydrate the mulch, the soil, everywhere, because what it is, it's a biostimulant. It'll stimulate bacterial growth, which is the good stuff, and the fungi. And you want that happening not just around the zone of the roots, you want it in the entire bed. So when you hydrate the garden, hydrate the entire bed. When you fertilise, fertilise the entire bed, not just around the plants. Now this has had already some superfood added, so I'm not going to top it up again, but ideally you can put some superfood once you've transplanted your seedlings, then liquid feed them on top. Now the superfood's got the black grit in it already, and if you haven't got superfood and black grit, well, that's a good start, and the liquid feed. It's available on our website, vasilisgarden.com. 3AW weekend, so if you're watching it as we've just uploaded, switch over to 3AW 693 AM. Me and Darren James talking gardening. Give us a call with your gardening problems or gardening ideas. Love to hear from you, and because it is the weekend on radio, 3AW coupon code is what you use to get your big discount, up to 85% off a huge range online. That's vasilisgarden.com. From me, Vasili Maresi.